Greetings, fanboys and fangirls. Jared here with another video from Fanboys Forever. Today we're going to be having a look at 3 new figures from the upcoming Disney Pixar film, Lightyear. We're going to be looking at the XL-12 Buzz Lightyear, the XL-01 Buzz Lightyear, and the XL-09 Buzz Lightyear. So, without further ado, let's begin. First of all, we'll go ahead and look at the packaging on these 3 figures, which is a little different depending on which releases you're looking at. You can see that this is just in your standard, regular old packaging, and is of course what you'll see just for the basic figures in the line. Turning it to the back, it just has a little bit of a cross-sell for the other figures in the line. We'll be reviewing these in number order, so with this being Buzz's first spacesuit. And of course, here is a barcode in case this helps you find the guy. So let's go ahead and open him up. And here we have the XL-01 Buzz geared up and all out of package. First off, you can see that this, since it is the XL-01, is probably Buzz's earliest suit in the film, and thus it definitely looks the most like just a traditional astronaut. Of course, I've not seen the film yet as of the time of this review, so it's going to be interesting to see exactly what part that this particular suit plays. It is featured fairly prominently in trailers, so you can expect that this will be on screen at least a pretty good portion of time. I really do like all the little subtle details, all the little folds in the cloth. I'm really also liking those little tampographic details that have been applied, like where you can actually see that it says Lightyear. It's really quite a bit of attention to be paid to what is essentially more of your basic, younger collector's toy. I'm also really liking the patch on the side here, which is nice and something you might see on an actual astronaut suit. He even has this little thing, more like a wrist communicator or a monitor of some sort, but there's nothing on there, so that would have been cool if there was some kind of decal applied. I like the utility belt there and the knee pads, as well as his very traditional astronaut boots. And it's cool to see Buzz like this in more of your traditional real-world astronaut costume. I also like how visible the face is through like the frosted plastic kind of glass. Sometimes this doesn't work very well in figures and it like warps the image very badly, but here you can actually see the face very clearly, and it holds on really well too. I'll just go ahead and pop that helmet off so that we can better see the head sculpt. This is the smiling version of the Buzz head, and I think it looks really nice. I think it's pretty accurate to the film model. Particularly interesting is that he has a much lighter tone, or kind of a off purple tone, sort of a little closer to blue here for the headstock as well as the gloves down here. So I think overall he's a very nice looking figure. Looking at articulation really quick, and this is the same articulation that is featured on all 3 figures, so we're only going to look at articulation once. You can see that the head does go all the way around. It's a little stuck, but it works well enough. At the waist, he can turn all the way around. He does have some really effective shoulder hinges that go slightly more than 90 degrees. You can go all the way around, of course. At the elbow, you can rotate. He does have a very effective hinge right there at the elbow, so you can get a really nice 90-degree angle. You can, of course, rotate the wrists. And, of course, down here, you can do these splits as if Buzz was some kind of insane gymnast. You can also get a really serviceable kick and have a really nice, slightly beyond 90 degrees there. There is a rotation at the knee. You can even get a hinge at the knee that works really well and almost does 90. And here there is a rotation at the boot. So really, it's a well-articulated figure to be more of your basic younger collector's sort of item. And I'm actually very happy with the amount of articulation that they put in on this because they really didn't have to. I also really like how Buzz's helmet turned out. We probably didn't give this quite enough attention with all the little details and the stripe and the 01 on the top. The only problem I have with it is there's a little spot of white paint right there, which could probably be easily removed more than likely. The one thing I will say is when it comes to accessories, Buzz is quite light. He does, of course, come with his helmet here. I struggled to get it to fit on tightly at first, but you really do have to kind of force it down over the neck piece. And once you do, it's on there really well. And then it actually takes a little bit of force to pop off. The other thing he comes with is this crystal container. Of course, some of the figures in this scale are called the crystal grade figures or crystal collection figures. And I know that that's going to be a big part of the movie. I'm not exactly sure how, but this does appear that he has this in a container of some sort. He can, of course, use either one of his hands to hold on to this, but he has to hold on to it kind of in an awkward way. He is holding on to it well enough, but if he gets jostled around too much, it would probably come out, but it's in there good enough. The weird part is that the plastic is filling in under the handle. You would think that they would have left that blank so that there would be a little negative space to put the fingers through, but they did not. Just for a really quick comparison, here he is alongside the glow-in-the-dark Buzz Lightyear. And you can see that they are a really good match in terms of scale. Of course, this Buzz is a little more suited up, so he might have a slight height advantage over him. Interestingly, I'm not sure if it's just an illusion, but it almost feels like this head is slightly bigger than this head for some reason. I don't know if it's because maybe the collar is a little closer and it's a little bit of an illusion, but it is kind of funny to note. This standard Buzz Lightyear for the XL-01 pilot outfit is a really serviceable figure, and it does the job nicely with all sorts of little decals and painted areas on the outfit. However, the one thing I will say is he would have been a lot more exciting if he came with some sort of weapon or something that he could have used as an accessory other than the crystal container. I think that that's always a really important thing, especially for younger collectors when they're getting a figure like this, is they want him to have something to be able to adventure with, and it would have been nice if he had come with something that he could have used. All right, moving on to the others. Next up, we have the crystal grade XL-09 Buzz Lightyear figure. The interesting thing about this particular costume is that it seems to be kind of in line with the original look that Pixar was going to give Buzz Lightyear in their original version of his design. So I do think that that's intentional, and I think it's really cool to have a figure of it. Of course, on the back, you can just see a few of the other figures in that collection. This figure, I believe, is a Walmart exclusive, and that is where you should be able to find him in the United States. So let's go ahead and get him open. And here we have Buzz out of the packaging in his XL-09 suit. And I'm really liking this armor so much because, like I said, it really does feel like a direct homage to Buzz's original look, especially from the kind of now infamous test footage. That's sort of the stuff of nightmares. Buzz being in that burgundy outfit with the kind of more bulbous helmet. This is definitely a look that is so similar to that. So I'm really liking how that's been realized for the movie. And I'm also liking how it turned out in figural form. He has some really cool kind of pearlescent paint going on right here. This is almost like a halfway step between his standard space uniform and his eventual armor that he dons in the film. I'm really happy with how there's kind of a pearlescent sheen on this burgundy up here on the back of the helmet. You can see all the cool details on the armor, and all the Buzz Lightyear figures have this kind of space on the back, so if you want to attach like Buzz Lightyear's wings from another figure, you can put them on any of these. So that's a pretty cool option, but it is pretty unsightly back here. You can see that he does have kind of a little patch here. It's just blue, so that's an interesting choice. Over here we have an 09, and over here we even have some painted in buttons. I'm really liking the rest of the look for the figure, and the articulation is exactly the same as the Buzz that we just last looked at. He does come with this little mini computer, at least that's what I believe it is, and I think that he should be able to hold it just fine. And you can see that that's not a problem for the figure to hold, so that's good that you've got an option. And I also like that it can be displayed down here on the belt. It's always great when figures have some sort of function to their utility belt. Up here, the helmet is removable, and you can see that once you do remove it, honestly, it was a little easier to get it over this collar than the last XL-01 figure that we looked at. So that was a little easier to take it on and off. Again, I'm liking the head sculpt and the expression that they went with. It's very similar, if not the exact same, to what we just looked at with the XL-01. Another accessory that he includes is, once again, the crystal container, just like we saw with the XL-01. But one interesting difference is, indeed, now there's negative space up here under the handle. I have no idea if the last one that we looked at was maybe some kind of production error, or if they decided to change it after playtesting revealed that, hey, maybe that would be a good area to put the fingers of the figure. And sure enough, it does give it a much more secure hold to where you can definitely have him now hold it in lots of awkward angles and things, and it still hangs right on. So that was a really good improvement that was made since that figure. So one thing worth mentioning about the XL-09 Buzz Lightyear's crystal that he comes with, and that's this one over here on this side, it's quite the improvement from the one that came with the XL-01. You can see that this one is just kind of has a sculpt printed on the plastic on the outside, trying to simulate that there might be a crystal in there. This one, on the other hand, that comes with the XL-09 is actually a sculpted crystal that is suspended in the middle of the plastic. And so it really does give a more 3D look. And even though the containers are very similar, it's easy to tell, like I had mentioned already, that the handle here is a lot easier to grab. It seems to be a better representation of the crystal that's in the film. Also, strangely, he does come with this, and it's like this crystal structure card. It gives you different stats for this crystal. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. It does show Buzz's ship, the XL-09, and yeah, I'm not 100% sure how this card is utilized, but it's certainly here, and you get it, and it's kind of a hollow foil kind of look to it. So yeah, it's a thing. And here's the XL-01 Buzz beside of our XL-09 Buzz. And they look great together because of just how different that the two figures come off. I mean, the boots and the legs appear to be pretty well exactly the same, as well as the midsection and belt, but a lot of the other parts in the figure really is pretty different, especially when it comes to the chest area and the helmets that go over the figures. So I do feel like Mattel did a good job differentiating these guys, and they just look cool together as an evolution of Buzz's outfit. Although the homage will probably go right over most folks' heads, I really do appreciate that they put Buzz in his original design just so that we could see it realized. And this figure does a great job with it. He's certainly very eye-catching and something a little different to go with your Lightyear collection. And of course, lastly, we'll be having a look at the XL12 Buzz Lightyear figure. This is again from the Crystal Grade collection, the Walmart exclusive, since that's the only place I found this guy, just like the burgundy Buzz Lightyear that we just looked at. You can see that he's very well displayed in the box. I'm liking the card and the blister. And on the back, you just get a few little details about some of the other figures in the line, as well as the UPC code if that helps you find them. All right, let's get this guy out of the box. And here we have the XL12 Buzz Lightyear out of packaging. This figure is essentially the XL-01 Buzz that we looked at first, only with the yellow paint job and a new helmet. But it's pretty incredible once you see them side by side, and we'll actually just start out by doing that, just how different that the figure manages to look just from a new coat of paint. So it's actually pretty cool that they were able to repurpose that. And of course, since I've not seen the film, I can't speak to the accuracy of this particular suit. However, just getting in a little bit closer, you can see all sorts of cool little details like the 12 and the different colors being printed on, almost looking like Wonder Bread up here, right? Moving on down, you can see the belt and all the other great sculpted details that we looked at on the XL-01. Of course, we have our obligatory back slot here in case you do want to put in a set of wings. But we do have a brand new accessory down here, and of course a brand new helmet. The biggest difference between this and the XL-09 helmet from the Burgundy Buzz is that he has this big antenna on the side, and there's an overall more open design to the helmet as well. I also really like how he almost looks like an old-timey diver in this helmet. Now, we can also see that once you take it off, Buzz actually has a serious facial expression here. And that's something we didn't see with the others where he was smiling. Now, the one thing is the paint probably isn't quite as strong on the eyes here as it was on the other releases. Might be something I have to touch up a little myself. And maybe the paint fades a little over here with the flesh tone on top of the gray, which is always hard to paint a light color on top of a dark plastic. But really, it gets the job done, and I'm glad to see a more kind of dour Buzz head, as the others seem to be a little jovial. Now, one cool thing that he includes is this rather different accessory right here. And we saw this version of kind of like the handheld computer earlier, but this time it looks a little different. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with this. Perhaps it has something to do with time travel, which I do think is a big element of the film. Like I said, I've not seen it yet, so it's just a matter of us kind of discovering it as we see the film as to why Buzz has all these different versions of flight suits, whether he's testing something or trying something or building different versions of the same ship. It'll be interesting to see how it all factors in. In terms of detail on the suit, I think the one missed opportunity is it would have been nice if they had actually painted the little hose that goes into his chest apparatus there. It's a little strange that it's yellow, just like the rest of the suit, but maybe the same could have been said for the chest apparatus on the XL-01. Now, it is interesting to look at them side by side because there is, of course, some sculpt difference with these two chests here. You can see that this is a totally different sculpt, and this is a completely different one as well. So when I say that it's a reuse of the sculpt, I suppose that it's a reuse for everything except for this main chest area. Even though it's a whole lot of the same type of armor, this area has been re-sculpted. So it is cool to see them side by side. Another accessory that he includes is this cool crystal container here. Again, it is sculpted and kind of suspended on the inside there with this purple tone, and I think it looks really cool. And again, glad to have the negative space to where he should be able to pretty easily hold it. And sure enough, he is. One last accessory that he does include is this card. It says Crystal Structure XL12. On the back, we see a slightly different version of the spaceship. Again, I'm not sure exactly what you do with these. These have different holes in them, and you can see that they're like little cutouts there. It almost makes me wonder if this works with some kind of role-play toy that they have out. Maybe someone can let me know down below. So I think overall, this is a really cool-looking Buzz Lightyear variant. And here we have all three of the Buzz Lightyear variants all together for the review in order. We have XL-01, XL-09, and XL-12. So it's cool to kind of see this progression, and it's neat to see the different design cues. I am very curious if in the film we'll see all of the XL numbers, as if Buzz is trying out different versions of the ship, and if Mattel is actually willing to do figures for all of the different flight outfits that he might wear. But who knows, it may not even be a thing in the movie. Well friends, that'll do it for my review of these three brand new Buzz Lightyear figures. It's going to be cool to see exactly how these suits play into the film, and I think it's just really neat to finally have some very different versions of Buzz. Of course, even if these different flight suits are just a marketing gimmick to sell more toys, then consider their job done, because I was fascinated enough by these different looks for Buzz that I felt I needed to add them to my collection. So, good on them. And of course, let me know down below if you have purchased any of these new Lightyear figures and if they're thrilling you like they are me. I can only imagine that a lot of the kids who see these in the stores are probably going crazy for them. And I imagine that that will only increase when the movie releases this weekend. Tell me down below, are you excited to see the new Lightyear film? Will you skip it? Or how do you feel about the film if you have already seen it by the time you watch this video? And of course, no spoilers below, so that we can make this a friendly comment section for anyone who's still interested in seeing the movie. And of course, be sure to subscribe, because I have other Lightyear content coming out this week to make sure that you are prepared for the new movie. And of course, we would appreciate the like if you feel that we deserve it. It really does help the channel grow, and helps that pesky algorithm to do its thing, whatever that thing is, this week. And as always, God bless you and yours, and I'll see you on Fanboys Forever. To infinity and beyond.